Alright traders, George here, and time for another day trading essential. This video, time of day. So you're a day trader, that means that you're looking to trade within the day. A couple of givens here is that we're sticking with one market. We're using the same type of chart with the same period value, and we have a rule set that's visually driven off of the chart. No changes to this at all, okay? So that means we're not considering news or fundamentals, we're not flipping around the period values of our chart or the chart type, and we're not hopping from market to market. This is a constant. Alright, now just for the time scale, I'm using an E-mini continual on a 30-minute chart here, and this time scale is Pacific time, FYI. These are the times that break down the US session to be concerned with. So from 8:30 in the morning Eastern to 9:30, that's the pre-market. At 8:30 Eastern, there's a bevy of econ reports that come out, and that sort of starts the clock ticking for the day. There'll typically be a bit of an emotional response around those reports, and then a little bit of a cool down and a little jostling before we hit the open. The day starts, and then we move into the morning session. So from 9:30 Eastern to noon Eastern is the morning session. From noon until 2 o'clock, call that Chicago Merc lunch. It's about a 2-hour period there where typically the volume gets a bit thinner. There's not as much action, not every time, but as a rule, that's the Chicago Merc lunch zone, and then returning and finishing off for the afternoon session. And then after that starts the whole cycle again, where we go into the after hours Australian Asian session, London session, and through to the next day, also referred to that as Globex. Okay, when you're day trading, you have your market, your chart type and period value, and you have your rule set that's visually driven by whatever indicators you're using, right? When you start to scroll through price and see how your rule set did, right? When you have done your back testing, you want to look to see how it performs throughout these different zones here. As a rule, this is the best time to day trade, this period here in the morning, and you can scoop up a bit of the tail end of pre-market there. Now there's always going to be a time when there's a big move at some particular point, all right? You're not trading for the one big move. You're trading for the consistent performance of the market. So you don't want to form fit your time around an outlying event, okay? You can see here that in Pacific time, this impulse right here is essentially in the morning session, and it actually continued nicely until the end of the day. That's what happened on that day. You need to look at more examples than one day. And as you do that, you can then start to match them up to these general time guidelines here to see how the performance looks. Now, if you can go back and back test through an entire day and just keep doing that, then you can hard cut down more specifically which of these zones you want to trade in and how you're going to break that down. Do you want to start a half hour after the econ reports and go to the morning session, or do you want to go from a half an hour after the first reports here and go a half an hour into Chicago Merc lunch? Maybe you have an idea that you want to trade as much as possible, and it's not until you do your back testing that you see for your rule set that the afternoon session is not doing you any favors. Maybe you add another 20 trades and you lose $300 in a week versus stopping earlier, not having as many trades and having a better expectancy there. So you take your market, your chart type and period value, and your rule set. You start to back test and see how those results look matched up to these time zones, and then you can hard cut down and pursue your investigative work from there and then move that into sim trading. But this is how you want to break down the day and think about it. I've got this in red because this is a time when the trading activity is a lot thinner, and a small order can push things around quite a bit. So you can see slippage in things like the equity futures, etc. But again, the morning session, that's why we run the live room in the morning. That's the sweet spot. Break the day down like this, match it up with your back testing, hard cut down from there, and move that to your sim trading, and you'll have great control and visibility over what's happened before, what's happening now, and you'll really understand how these markets move a lot better than most. All right, so time of day, make sure that that becomes one of the consistents up here, okay? That'll do it for now. We'll see you back in the live room.